Joining us now, the president and the CEO of Planned Parenthood Action Fund and Planned Parenthood Federation of America, Alexis McGill-Johnson. Also with us, co-founder and CEO of All In Together, the great Lauren Leader. Thank you both very much for being with me. Alexis, what is Planned Parenthood trying to do to get the word out about exactly what the vice president was talking about, the services that Planned Parenthood brings to the table, but also that abortion is health care. Abortion is equal to health care, to saving lives.
Look, I mean, clearly we know now Planned Parenthood Action Fund just concluded a recent analysis of the impact of the Dobbs decision today. And we know now that 43% of women are living in states with abortion bans. That is 28 million women are living in states, and more gender expansive folks, and more than half of black women. So when we talk about the fact that abortion is health care, abortion is reproductive health care, and we know now that abortion bans have made pregnancy more dangerous. They have put us at more risk for outcomes in our pregnancies for being criminalized. The idea that that people still yet don't understand, right, on the opposite side of the aisle, that these bans are harming people. They are harming patients, and they are putting at risk the majority of reproductive freedom across this country. And that's what we are, that's what we are demonstrating right now. What's at stake.
So, Lauren, I just wonder how important you think it is to use wording that is authentic to the problem at hand. Since Roe was overturned, there are women who can't get the health care that they need. Abortion is not a bad word. Abortion is a life-saving word. A DNC and the procedures that one uses when they are miscarrying, they are life-saving procedures. They are, and when you use words like reproductive freedom or freedom over my body, it somehow triggers those on the far right as if it's something that can't be said out loud. It certainly can be said out loud because it's about saving one's life. And whether you're on the far right or you're a moderate Republican, if you're a man or a woman, there's going to be someone you love who needs an abortion in order to live, or to not be sterilized, or to have a miscarriage in a less traumatizing way so they can have more children. How important is it to spell it out for what it is?
I think it's essential, and you heard the vice president doing that. She's been talking relentlessly about freedom and the freedom to access the basic life-saving care that millions of women need. And as you know, and as we've talked about many times on this show, in the states that have restricted or banned abortion, you've seen huge spikes in maternal mortality because doctors are fleeing those states because of the crisis of care that it is creating writ large for, a whole range of healthcare services. And that is already on top of a massive maternal health crisis that we were already facing in this country before the Dobbs decision. But I'm so excited to be on with my wonderful, dear, longtime friend, Alexis. And we talk about this all the time, Alexis, but I wanted you to talk a little bit for our viewers about what you think is possible in terms of restoring the protections of abortion rights if President Biden gets the second term. And obviously, we all believe that that's going to be essential for the future of women's health care. But talk about what you expect, the commitments that the administration has made, and what you think they're going to be able to do, in addition to blocking, of course, the terrible consequences that a second Trump term would potentially have for women. What's the upside for the next term in terms of protecting women's health care?
Yeah, absolutely, Lauren. And it's so great to see you almost in real life. I mean, look, we know what a Donald Trump administration would bring us, right? We know that he bragged about the Dobbs decision. He bragged about putting the justices on who would overturn our reproductive freedoms. And essentially what he was saying is that he believed that states should decide. He believed that states should decide who is free and who is equal, right? And we now are living in that reality that, I talked about, the 43% of us who are living in those states who no longer have free and equal rights. Now, the upside of a Biden administration is incredibly exciting, right? We have an administration that has been an incredible partner fighting for reproductive freedom, fighting to protect patients, fighting to protect the right to travel, fighting to protect, the right for providers to provide care, and suing states like Idaho for not enforcing laws like EMTALA. So, we know their opportunity here is not just to restore Roe, but to build Roe back better. We need a durable, national, expansive right. We need a federal right. And that is what a collective of reproductive rights and health and justice organizations under the banner of Abortion Access Now are coming together. Just today announced a $100 million strategy to ensure that this administration has the right legislation in front of them to ensure that we have reproductive freedom and that we are not back in this place as we are 2 years after Dobbs.
Yep. President of Planned Parenthood, Alexis McGill Johnson, thank you. And Lauren, we're going to be talking about this all week in the lead up to the debate. We need to have you back, co-founder and CEO of All In Together. Lauren Leader, thank you as well.
Hey there, MSNBC fans. I'm Luke Russert, and be sure to join me, Rachel Maddow, Jen Psaki, Lawrence O'Donnell, Steve Kornacki, Joy Reid, and many more September 7th in Brooklyn. MSNBC Live Democracy 2024. Click on the link for ticket information. We will see you there.